Hello everyone. I was going to do a little bit of plant transplanting today, but unfortunately it's absolutely pouring with rain and it's a bit windy, so I'm not going to. I have been asked about a couple of my fossils, so I thought today I'd have a chat to you about those. Some of them I've collected myself, some of them have been gifts over the years. What I want to first of all tell you, and the most important thing is, if you ever want to go fossil hunting yourselves, don't hack at the sides of cliffs or anything else, because that undermines the actual structure of the cliffs. But quite often, especially in the northeast and the south coast, you get rock falls, and you're quite welcome to look at the bits of rock that have fallen onto the beach, as long as you know that it's safe and that the rock falls have completed. I personally have my own special fossil collecting kit, which is a bag. Doesn't look much, but it carries everything that I need. I have a special fossil hammer, and I also have my helping hand glove. So if I ever want to hit any rock, I can have it in my hand and I can use it like this, and my hand doesn't get injured. What I also have is a pair of safety glasses, just in case, because the last thing I want is a piece of 3 million year old fossil going into my eyes. So I also have protective goggles. Now I'm going to show you some of my collection. These, a lot of them were collected on the northeast coast and around a place called Robin Hood's Bay. If you look on your map of England, you'll be able to see where it is. First one I'm going to show you, they look a bit strange, seashells. Now yes, they're from the coast, but they're really high up, so it's an indication that a lot of our country was underwater. They're called bivalves because they've got two parts. You can see one part, two parts, bivalves, and they were in this country over 500 million years ago. And you might still see some of these sort of shells if you look on the beaches around today. They won't be fossilised and they might not be that big, but they're definitely there. The second one I'm going to show you was, I was about 11 years old visiting my relatives in Scarborough, and I found this on the beach. Doesn't look like much, it doesn't look like much at all actually. But that again is a fossil. You can see the top's been knocked off. It is a fossil. It's called a gastropod. And again, that's 500 million years ago. A long time ago. But can you see the shape? Imagine what sort of creature lives like this today. Gastropod. Think about it. You might find some in your garden. That's a bit of a tip. Now these are tiny little things. Cone shaped, but they've got a point at the top. Were they alive? Yes, they were. It's a type of horn shaped coral called Crinoids. I've written everything down because sometimes it's quite difficult to remember how to pronounce it. But you can see column-shaped corals, very old type of corals. But again, you get them in warmer waters now. So again, that's an indication that millions of years ago, our waters around the United Kingdom were a lot warmer than they were now. I've got some crinoids here. They're about 300 million years old. And again, they're still present today. What they are is small bits of coral, and if you look really carefully, you can see, you might not be able to on the camera, it goes out like a star shape. And they again are still, there's a better one, still in our seas and our warm waters, even to this very day. There, so don't lose them. One of my all-time favourites, because they're so common, are Ammonites, 240 to 65 million years ago, so not quite as old as the others. Now, when I was at Robin Hood's Bay and I was knocking a few of those and I was looking for shells, I can just about make out the outline of what was an ammonite. This is in shale rock, so it splits nicely and you can see all of the different fossils. That's what one looked like. Again, that would have fitted kind of on there. Here's another one that's been in different sorts of minerals. You can see the rock inside, and it's basically a cast of the creature that once was. That's a lovely colour, I do like that one. And here is one that was in a stone in Charmouth. You knock the stone open and there were a great few in there. That's a nice find. They were cleaned up and polished to add to my collection. Ammonites, really, really common. Next one, Brachiopods, 550 million years ago, and still some survive today. You can just about see the shape. Can you see what shape that is? It's a standard shell, Brachiopod. We've got another one just here, again in the shale stone. My youngest ever fossil, and I had to have this tested in Sunderland Museum, and you can just see there was a little drill hole where they drilled some of the fossil out to find out how it is. I wasn't sure what it was. It's a tooth. Well, part of a tooth, a lot of it's been broken away. And I wasn't sure because it's got the enamel on it, and some of it is a bit rough and serrated. And the people at Sunderland Museum reckon it's between 20 and 3.6 million years old. So that is the youngest fossil I think I've got. And they believe it's the tooth of a megalodon. That's a massive, 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 great big shark. And I'm quite glad that they're not in our oceans right now. You can see all the dentine and all the enamel, and you can feel, it's not sharp now, but I would imagine if that came down and bit you, it would make a bit of a hole in your arm. So that's a brief guide and a look at some of my fossils. Now, I want to show you another one. It's quite heavy. I want you to look at it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Right. It's quite heavy, and it's been sliced in half and it's been polished. When you look on the sides, it's really rough and linear, and you can see a bit better here. Rough and linear, so it's obviously been growing up that way. So when it was together, it was growing that way up. And when I turn it round, because you can see it's been polished, been made into some bookends, you can see circles, rings. What sort of living plant, even now, has a strange up and down